Hi everyone, Sabrina here, and today I'll be showing you part 2 of my 10 cards 1 kit video using the March Hero Arts card kit. So for my first card, I wanted to create a shaker. I got some requests not to do any more stitched cards, so I did these, I think in one night. They were pretty simple. So right there I cut out a black stitched rectangle, and now I'm going to create a white stitched frame using 2 rectangle dies. And this is what I'm going to use for my foam tape. Alright, so I'm going to take this stamp set and choose the sentiment, "Hello there, you are the best." I really love how you can make your own sentiments and have them look, to me, this card ended up looking like one of those chalkboards that you would see outside of a restaurant. I thought it was really cool with the different sort of texts and sizes of the letters. So I'm going to stamp that with Versamark and heat emboss it with the silver embossing powder that came in the kit. When you heat set this embossing powder, it sort of turns more like a whitish silver. So I thought that kind of added to the chalkboard effect. So now I'm just kind of seeing how it's going to look. Alright, so I'm going to tape down my panel, and it's sort of warped, so I'm going to add extra tape. Now I'm taking some acetate and I'm going to glue down my frame. I wouldn't recommend glossy accents. I found that later it peeled off of the acetate, so I do go in with some 3-in-1. Okay, and now I'm going to add some foam tape. And this foam tape is higher than the 3M, so I don't have to double mount it. The only downside of this tape is that it's very sticky. Uline, the place where I got it from is from Uline, U-L-I-N-E. And they have different levels of stickiness. I think I chose the second least stickiness. But they actually use this tape to mount frames onto walls. So of course it has to be sticky. I do take some of it off by rubbing it against my hand. But you can still see that my scissors struggle cutting it. Anyway, I'm going to take some of the sequins that came in the kit, a generous amount this time, and I'll also take some of the Recollection sequins in white, black, and silver. And then I'm going to glue down my frame. And I didn't like how all the sequins were falling to the bottom, so now I'm going to peel it off. Luckily I didn't adhere it that well. And that's when I realized that my acetate was peeling off of the frame, so you'll see later on that I'm going to add my 3-in-1. But right now I'm taking my glossy accents and I will add some of the sequins straight onto the black panel. So now you can see I'm going in with my 3-in-1 and just making sure that it won't detach. And I did add some of the 3-in-1 right onto the foam tape so that I'll make sure it doesn't peel off. Okay, and then to add to this chalkboard effect, I wanted it to, I guess, be a coffee shop. So I'm going to take a black banner and a white banner. And actually the Gemini can cut 2 papers at once. It's a very strong machine. There's a lot of pressure. So I can actually cut, if the paper is 80 pound, I can cut 3 layers of paper. So I did cut a white and black banner. I'm going to stamp and emboss "Thank You" with the same silver embossing powder. And then I'll also stamp the coffee cup, and I'm going to clear emboss that. And then to make the banner stand out, I decided to take the white banner and make a drop shadow. Here I'm kind of fussing around with it, but I like how it looks layered on top, or I guess below the black. And then I thought I wanted to foam mount this, and I think I would have done it with my thinner tape. I felt like this was two-dimensional, so I ended up just taking it off and gluing it straight onto the acetate. And that will complete card number 6. Really cute. One of my favorites, I think. Alright, so for my next card, I'm going to take a stitched rectangle and cut out a piece of the pattern paper that came in the kit. This paper has sort of a Zentangle look to it, and I thought it would be really fun to color. But first I'm going to take the "Thank You" die and cut out a few layers of black cardstock. I will again layer a few of them on top so that I can get some dimension. And I use glossy accents for this. I like the fine tip on this particular glue. Okay, and so now I'm going to take my colored pencils, and this paper is really slick. I don't know if markers would have been better, but I found that certain pencils didn't really color well on it. Some of the darker colors did, but you'll see later on I add a few different lighter shades and it doesn't really color well. I think it's, you know, the slickness of the paper. So I'm being very random. I use shades of green and blue. I think it took me maybe 15 minutes to color this whole panel. Not adding any shading, wanted it to be really simple. I'm not going to show you me coloring the whole thing. I just want you to see that I wasn't very particular on where I placed my different colors. So here, you can see with this color, you can barely even see it, so. But with this one, a much darker color, it seems to be coloring fine. And the color that you see on the pencil is not what you get on this paper. It's more of a lighter shade when you color it. And as I'm coloring this, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's leaving me very nice comments, all the new subscribers. I'm very excited that people are interested in my videos and they enjoy what I'm making. So I thought, you know, by adding to my channel, I might make videos where I show you all of the cards that I make, like at the end of the month. My job is making cards. I rely on selling them. So of course I make a lot every month, and I can't film them all because, well, it takes too much time. I make too many to be editing so many videos, and I make primarily pop-up cards. So it's very hard to film me making those because they don't lay flat on my desk. But I still want to show you them, and so I think at the end of every month I'm going to gather all my cards, and if one set of them sells out, I guess I'll just leave a picture instead of showing you on camera. But most of the time, I make 10 of one card. At the end of the month, I usually have a few left that I can showcase. And so I'll just show you guys, you know, how I make them. My mom makes a lot of them too. I'm going to show some of her cards, and I will kind of talk about how I made them, what my inspiration was for them. And so let me know if you guys want to see that. I've been thinking about doing that for a while now. The problem is that most of my cards are at my mom's house, so I'm going to have to figure out a different way of filming. But if anyone's interested, definitely let me know so that I can start thinking of ways I can make a video. Okay, and so I placed some vellum on top of the panel so that I can mute it down a bit, and then I took the thank you and glued that right on top of the vellum. And then I felt like I needed a mat, of course. I think every card has a mat. I just think it stands out a lot more. Okay, so I cut down a black panel, and I'm going to tape down my Zentangle pattern paper onto the black. And I think I foam mount, yes. I place some foam tape on the black. Oh yeah, another thing with this tape, it's kind of difficult to peel back. So, I mean, you get what you paid for. Now I'm just going in with my Wink of Stella to make the black cardstock shimmery so that it would match the shimmery thank you. And then I'll go in with my glossy accents and put a layer of that onto my thank you die cut. And I really like how this card turned out too. I was struggling to create backgrounds because I don't have a lot of supplies for it, but I like that this pattern paper was in the kit, and that in itself is a background. So there is card number 7, I think. Okay, for this next card, I'm going to emboss Sending with white powder. And that Hugs is actually from, I don't know. It was the card with the stitched flowers. I didn't end up using it, so I will use it for this card. So I really warped this panel, so I'm trying my best to flatten it out again. And then I'm going to add, I think this is Victorian Velvet, I believe, Distress ink at the bottom. I like the ombre look that this gave. And then you can see I was too heavy-handed with it and I crinkled my paper. But I'm going to be adding more heat to this, and it will flatten that out. Okay, and then I'm going to take the white ink that came in the kit. I really like this white ink. For some reason on black paper it looks more splotchy, but on lighter papers like this pink one, it really stamps out perfectly. But this is a pigment ink and it takes a really long time to dry. So some of the flowers at the bottom I ended up smearing. So I would make sure you heat set this after you stamp all the flowers. And this was kind of my idea I wanted to do for that stitched card in part 1. But obviously the flowers didn't end up looking like this. So I was like, well, I'll just do it in a regular card version without stitching. And so I thought that this was really pretty. Okay, and then I will glue down my Hugs. With glossy accents. And I cut out all these diamonds. There was a die in the kit that cut out these little diamond shapes, but I didn't end up liking them. I kept it in the video because everything's a process. I don't have a clear, set idea for a card, and I like to add things as I make my designs. So now I'm going to just adhere my panel straight onto my card base. If I were to do it again, I would add maybe a white or a black frame around it. Okay. Now I'm taking a white gel pen, and just to accentuate those stitched lines, I'm going to go over it with the white. You don't really notice it until you get to the bottom where the inking is, and it pops out a lot more. But this step was probably unnecessary. I just felt like I needed something with this panel. And then, this is a mistake, guys. You'll see in the finished card, like in the picture, I'm going to insert a picture, I did cut out another red hugs and layered it on top of this one. I didn't like the gold shimmer. I thought it didn't match the pink at all. And this particular pen, I'm not sure what it's called. It's a Jelly Roll shimmer pen. And it has a lot of gold pigment in it. And it kind of turned the whole hugs into gold rather than the red that I liked. But now I'm going to go over it with glossy accents. I thought that would maybe fix it, but I just didn't like the way that it looked. And here I kind of went heavy-handed on the H with my glossy accent, so I'm taking a needle and trying to scoop some of that up. And then, like the stitched card, I'm going to take some of the sequins, but instead of the white ones, I'm going to use the clear ones. I thought that blended more into the background. I thought the white ones were too distracting. And then I'm going to add those gold Recollection sequins to the center. And that completes card number 8. And here is a picture of the finished card. I just put on another pink layer of the hugs. Okay, for card number 9, I'm going to take those diamonds, and I cut some in black, in gray, white, and I did emboss some of them with that silver embossing powder. And I'm just arranging them. Some of them I'm popping up, some I'm just gluing down flat. And creating my own pattern paper. Like I said, a lot of my supplies are at my parents' house, so I don't have many inks, or I don't have any stencils actually. So I kind of had to make do with the dies that came in the kit. And I ended up really liking how this turned out. It ended up looking like one of those, like those sweaters that schoolgirls would wear. I know, really random, but that's what it reminded me of. Just arranging them, trying my best not to get, two grays next to each other. I did have more whites than I did any of the other colors. And then here I wanted some more metallic ones. I do skip over. It did take, I think, like 18 minutes to make this whole panel. And I'm gluing most of them straight onto the panel because I know that my sentiment is going to be popped up and I don't want it to run into the ones that are popped up, if that makes sense. So a lot of these are flat rather than popped up. And towards the top I had to start cutting some of my diamonds. A, because I was running out, and B, because I wanted to keep that stitched area. I didn't want to cover that. Okay, and now I'm going to go to the stamp set and pick which ones I wanted. I knew I wanted some banner looking sentiments. So I choose the U and I'm going to stamp that with black VersaFine onto white paper. I'll clear emboss that, and then I'm going to stamp the R on gray paper with the metallic silver. And the Amazing on black paper with white embossing powder. I wanted all my embossing powders to match the diamond papers. Then I'll heat set all of those and then use the coordinating dies to cut out the two banners. And then for the R, I'm just going to use my scissors and cut a little rectangle. Oh wait, never mind. I do use a banner for the R too. And that's how they look like when they're all cut. I'm going to add some foam squares onto my banners. And for this banner I used my larger foam squares. Okay, and now I wanted a black stitched rectangle. I'll cut that out. And layer my white panel on top. I think I use foam tape. And then I will adhere the black panel with regular tape. And then I wanted to use this ribbon, but I felt like it was too much. I will use it on my last card. I do make it sort of a challenge for me to use everything in the kit, including the ribbon. So, okay. Just going to adhere that down, and that will complete card number 9. I thought that this one was pretty cool. I love the colors. You can see a trend with either all pink cards like this one or black and white cards. Okay, and then the last word die that I didn't use was the hello. So I'm going to I'm going to die cut the hello out of several layers of white Neenah 110 pound cardstock. And then for the top hello, I wanted it to have that silver embossing powder. I'm going to use my Versamark, cover the whole thing, and then add my embossing powder. And I will go back, I think, 2 more times with my Versamark and build up the layers of embossing powder. And that ended up looking sort of like glossy accents. It gave it really nice dimension. I think this is my last layer. And then I'm going to take the craft cardstock and cut that down to just under my card base size, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I wanted a small white frame. Okay, and then I'm going to glue that straight down onto my card base. And this card is probably my most simple. I Was clearly running out of ideas here, but I just cut out some of the banners with different colored cardstocks in shades of pink and red. Sorry I'm sort of off camera, trying to figure out the placement I want. Right now I'm adding my different layers of the Hello die cut, and I will end up using a black Hello as a drop shadow. And off camera, I placed my gray ribbon through those holes of the banners. And now I'm going to take some of those large foam squares, and just on the bottom of them, I will pop up the banners. Sort of curving them. And I'm going to place glue on the top of them. I just wanted the bottoms to flip up a bit. And here I'm trimming down the gray ribbon. And I'll glue down my hello. And add glue to the top of the banners. And that will complete card number 10. This one was probably the most simple. Oh, just kidding. I'm going to add gray bows to each side. I thought that this made it really cute. I think this would be a fun card to reproduce, because it was fairly simple to make, especially with the Gemini when it cuts out a few layers of cardstock at a time. But that completes card number 10. And here I'm just going to show you all 10 cards that I made. Let me know which one's your favorite card. I do appreciate comments and subscribes. I had a lot of fun working with this kit. It's a great stash builder because you always need sentiments. So I will see you guys next time for the April card kit. I'm excited to see what that one will bring, and I wish you guys a great rest of the week. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!